Yo, what's going on YouTube? Nassif here from Click, and today I'm be doing the Blue Pure XR full review. And as usual with these phones, I kind of just skipped the initial impressions video because what's the point? Like, there's no point in making a video. I end up saying the same thing twice in both videos, so it's just easier just to skip it and go straight to the full review. So I got the same usual things I'm going to talk about: the screen, the build, the software, camera, speakers, fingerprint scanner, just how the phone's aged, and my thoughts on the phone overall. So I want to get into the first things first, the build. I've got some things that I don't like about the build. So first things first, if you guys know, if you guys watched the unboxing video, you'll know I had a problem with the home button, and I still have that same problem with the new unit. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but it basically jiggles around inside its housing, and it feels super cheap. Like, unfortunately, fantastically built phone otherwise. The build, the metal's awesome. The feel in hand is like amazing. Like, it's up there with, like, I would compare this to an iPhone, like in hand feel. That's how amazing it feels. But yeah, just the home button has that issue, and the buttons over here with the case, when the case is on, they're super sensitive. So like, when you're using the phone, like if you take the phone out of your pocket, or even if the phone's in your pocket, you sit down and your sides actually accidentally get pressed. You end up taking screenshots and stuff while the phone is in your pocket. And then also, if you're like trying to power the phone down, sometimes if you accidentally press the volume down button, like here, you end up taking a screenshot. I accidentally pressed. I can't replicate it now, obviously, typical. But you actually end up getting a few screenshots and whatnot. So that's just a small issue that we've had. Otherwise, in terms of the build, it's actually been pretty decent. No issues with the way it's built. The metal's great. No bending. iPhone 6 Plus. No bezels or anything scratching. The camera lens is fine. The camera, surround is fine. It's just an overall fantastic built phone. Nice and light in the hand, but it just feels really nice and sturdy. So on the build, you got a good one right there, apart from the home button and the side buttons there. In terms of the camera, now the camera takes really decent pictures. We'll head into the camera app here. I have a PlayStation controller on deck. So that's what we'll be taking a picture of. All right, so we took a picture there, and I have another picture on the gallery. Well, there goes the cases. Drop the cases for the phone. It's all good. So we have a picture there of the PlayStation controller. The camera's pretty decent, I gotta say. I think it's a 13 megapixel shooter. No issues at all. It takes fantastic pictures. I think the screen rotation is locked here. Yeah, here we go. So there we go. So we have a 13 megapixel camera. The detail's pretty decent. Color comes out a little bit inaccurate. Like, if you take a look at the actual controller versus what the picture's replicating, it's a little bit not washed out, but it's a little bit too bright. So it is what it is. And what else do we have here? Let me just toss the controller on the floor too. We don't need that anymore. And then we also have, just give me 1 second here. At the dealership, the Acura dealership, they have an Acura NSX. Now, this is taken at nighttime with really crappy lighting, and through glass as well. We're looking through the window, and that is the NSX. They're a beautiful car, by the way, fantastic looking car. And so I mean, you guys judge what you will. I think it's a pretty decent camera. This one's a little bit fuzzy because this lighting was really bad. I think it actually has the MDX in the background in focus there, not the NSX. But it is what it is. You guys get the point. The camera, it's not going to replace your iPhone or your Samsung or anything, but if this is your only phone and you need to rely on this for taking pictures and photos and stuff, it's definitely a fantastic option and a fantastic choice. So next up, we'll talk about the screen. We have a 1080p AMOLED display, which gets super bright, as you guys can see. Have to keep the brightness down on low so the camera can actually focus and stay in focus. But the display is fantastic. I mean, it's fantastic in terms of colors, in terms of battery life. It's also really good, which I'll get into in a minute. And just overall, the viewing experience is really nice. Have no problems. Colors are vibrant. Blacks and whites are nice and punchy. The blacks are deep. So it's a really nice display overall. It would have been nice if it was 2K, but it is what it is. It's a budget, not a budget phone. It's a mid-ranger phone. You can't really expect too much from it. In terms of battery, let's see if I have any battery stats here. I think it's in the advanced settings for some reason. They think manage battery. So Blue thinks battery stats are advanced. All right, so okay, this says we don't have any battery stats. So I can tell you from the usage of the phone, I get about 6.5 hours to 7 hours of screen on time with like light to medium usage. So if you use it relatively heavily, you get about 4.5 to 5 hours of screen on time. But an average user, you probably get about 5.5 hours, give or take, plus or minus here and there. But yeah, you're probably looking at about 5.5 hours on average screen on time, which is fantastic for a battery for a phone that costs you like $400. So A good hit there for blue. What else want to talk about here? I was gonna go talk about something. Just looking at the settings. Manage battery. Oh, the buttons. There we go. The button settings. So I have an issue here. I've always had an issue with blue buttons. Now, first things first, it's nice that they've added this option here to reverse the buttons. So if you don't want it to be, if you don't want back to be here, you want back to be there and multitasking to be here, you can do that. I prefer the original, the stock way that it came. But the only problem is they're super small and they don't light up. So in the middle of the night when you're trying to use the phone, it's really easy just to not hit that button. Right, and I'm like, you gotta tap that little, I don't know if you guys can see, that little tiny dot that's on the bottom corner there. You have to tap that regardless, or else you're not gonna get the phone's not gonna activate the multitasking or the back button. So you have to tap on that dot, and it doesn't light up. So at nighttime, it's a little bit of a pain in the ass. But it's something just to mention, a little bit of an issue with that. With software, it runs really quick, guys. Like it's running Android 6.0. And just overall, the experience is just super smooth. I have no issues with it at all. There's not a single problem here. There's all the music, like opening the camera, nice and quick. And it's just this overall, the software experience is fantastic. Blue always really does well with their software experience. However, they don't do as well with their software updates. And I'll be making a video about that as well. What else do I talk about here? The speakers. Let's see. Do we have anything in here that's not going to tag us on copyright? No, we don't. So I'm going to run over to YouTube. Just give me 1 second here. We'll turn it off airplane mode and we'll head on to some non-copyright songs. NCS music. All right, my bad, guys. We're back in. Just had the load up. YouTube is being a little bit of a pain in the ass. Let's just try to load up here. Took a little bit to load, but we're in now. So let's take a look. We'll find a video here, and I'll show you guys the speaker. We'll go with the first one. All right. So let's crank the volume here, and we'll skip this ad. We'll jump right to the middle of the song. Now this is on full volume, keep in mind, full volume. So you guys can judge what you want on that. I'll give you my thoughts. I think the speaker is... It's hard to say because when you're listening to certain music on not full volume, it sounds great, but the second you crank the volume, you get a little bit of distortion. The high ends are piercing. There's not really there's bass, but it almost feels like it's fake bass. It's not real bass. So I mean, the speaker overall is good. It's good for your first phone or a mid-ranger phone, but compared to other phones like the iPhone and the Samsungs and all that stuff, it's nothing compared to them. But you got to keep in mind you're also paying half the price for this. So speaker's pretty decent. I also have an issue with the speaker. So when you're listening to the music, sometimes when you stop the music, like a second or two later, you'll hear a little crack come out of the speaker, and it just sounds. It's hard to explain. It sounds like a mic getting plugged into something that's full volume. It's like a little pop or a crack noise. Don't know what it is. Haven't figured it out yet, but it's just something to mention. What else do I want to talk about here? We talked about the build, the software, cameras, battery. Charging time is pretty quick. It's got that USB-C, so it charges up super quick. I also have something to talk about the battery. So the discharge from 100 to about 15% is normal. You get like really low discharge amounts, right? So you go 100 to 15 to, it lasts you forever. But then that 15% to the 0% goes by like this. Like literally you're talking like within an hour, your 15% is gone. So it goes from like 15 to 14 within about half an hour, like a short time. And then from, so 15 to 4, and then from 4 to 0 is just gone in like no time at all. So it's just something odd with the battery. It might just be a unit issue, but who knows? I think I pretty much covered everything. So that's pretty much my review on the Blue Pure XR. Now, do I recommend it? Oh, one thing I want to mention, the 3D Touch on here is absolutely useless. Don't use it. Don't bother. It doesn't work. It only works on the home screen launcher. That's the one thing I was missing. But yeah, it's just the 3D Touch only works on the home screen launcher and the home screen launcher, or the stock home launcher, and it sucks. So don't use it, and you will never get a chance to use it because you'll be changing the launcher, so it is what it is. So do I recommend this phone? If you have $400 to spend, and only $400 to spend, and you're in Canada, I would definitely recommend this phone. It's a fantastic device for what it is, for the amount of price, or for the amount of money you're paying for it, for the price, for everything you're getting, the build, the screen, the fingerprint scanner is pretty decent. Other than that, annoying noise that it makes. The camera is good, all that stuff is decent. For $400, you're definitely getting a lot for your money. Now the question that remains to be answered is, are you going to get software updates? And I'll have another video up about that later on. So again, do I recommend it? Definitely. If you guys like this video, feel free to drop a like on it. And if you like the Blue Pure XR, let me know in the comments down below what you think about the phone. If you like the content on the channel, definitely feel free to subscribe to us and also click that notification bell button just to notify yourself when our content goes live. Anyways, guys, thanks so much for watching. This has been the Blue Pure XR review, and this has been Nasir from Click, and I'm out. Peace.